as well.
Okay.
Hey,
we just went live.
Hey, we've gone live.
Yeah.
Are we
my phone
live?
tells me we just went live.
I hear that. That's good. It's good that you have a notification for that.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn it off.
I can hear some echo in somebody's
Echo?
thing. Yeah. I don't know what that's about.
I have a fan running, but
What's all that about?
That's fine.
Never seemed to bother the show.
Yeah.
No,
That's fine.
Why?
We'll
Who
leave it.
deleted?
I did because I thought that's what you put in there last week. Didn't we talk about this last week?
Did we? That's all I've been playing.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk about it again.
Don't erase my shit, Johnston.
That's all I've got, man.
Ow. It's harsh.
I wanted to put Picross 3D2 back in there, but
Yeah. Well, better not.
yeah,
King Johnston's got something to say. You know what, Johnston? You want to spit in my cereal? I'll piss in your eye. What do you think
kind of
about
cereal
that?
is it? What kind of cereal is it?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, baby.
Oh, that deserves to be pissed in.
I can't piss in that. That's a good cereal.
It is good cereal.
It's pure candy.
I said spit in your cereal though.
Oh, you said spit. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can spit in that cereal.
You spit in
If it was
my
Oops All
cereal,
Berries, then I'll pee in it.
piss in your eye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how it works. You spit in my cereal,
Speaking mixaphorically.
I'll piss in your eye. Wait, you have a problem with Oops All Berries?
Yeah, I have a problem with it.
What's wrong with Oops All Berries?
It's not natural.
Aside from the fact that it's an industrial accident that they decided to market.
Oh, and how am I?
Oops, all floor sweepings. What?
Person that didn't play the demo that you guys are talking about. I should have been the one to download that.
Yeah, it's even on the Vita, for God's sake.
It is.
I know, exactly.
I need to download that my own self.
I think
downloading it.
I don't know. I think people are going to think you're a fraud.
I know.
Are those even your pictures of your collection?
These aren't even my pictures of my children. What are you talking about?
Do you even own a Vita? The only pictures I've seen you post of it's in a little secure lockbox thing at a retail.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Nothing. Means nothing.
Yeah.
So someone took a trip to Fry's.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you own anything.
It means you got
who buys anything at Fry's anyway?
Value Electronics.
I've never been to Fry's, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy. You know, there's a Fry's like 10 minutes from my place.
Ah, okay. Then you wouldn't have had to take the Hobbit unexpected journey that I did today.
No, well, neither would you if you realize that Amazon will bring stuff to you.
Neither would you if you'd stop wasting your money on dead systems
or eBay.
Oh, you're making
Somebody
me
had
sad.
to say it, Ethan.
I will never understand your disdain, I guess, for Amazon.
No, it's just I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to wait
because
2 days.
Ethan is a now. He's an immediate. He needs the immediacy of, like, this broke and I can't wait 5 minutes for it. I need to have it now.
That's absolutely right. Well, no,
he met Jeff Bezos at one of his kids' birthday parties, and they had a tiff over some ice cream or something. I don't know.
What's this?
What are we even?
That's why he doesn't like Amazon.
I don't even know.
All right, are we gonna do a clap?
Yep.
Oh, are we?
Things can get much worse.
Oh yeah. 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
Clap, clap, clap.
Perfect.
Clap, clap, clap. Hello and welcome to episode 517 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, October 4th. That's 10-4. 10-4, good buddy.
10-4, good buddy. Them Duke boys.
2016. I'm your host, Chris Johnston. With me, as always, from the frozen north. It's still frozen up there, right?
It's not frozen yet. No, it's not frozen yet.
It's Canada. It's always frozen.
October. It's
always frozen.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving's
Living
soon.
in an igloo.
Thanksgiving's next week.
What?
It's not next week, right?
Yeah, where are you living?
It's like a week from the day we're recording.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
Yeah, by the way, I
that's-
might not be here next week.
What do you guys think?
Hey, me neither.
What?
Huh?
We should pick a different recording time next week. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, I think it would be the Phil and Ethan show.
That'd be
Why
good.
would we subject anyone to that? Nobody would ever be able to get the other person to shut up.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just saying what the listeners are thinking.
Words hurt, buddy.
Joining us from California, a man who's more interested in building Lego Dimensions toys than talking on the podcast.
Yeah.
Mr. Phil Theobald.
What makes you think I'm building Lego Dimension toys?
Well, you're building something. I hear some click-clackety
Clickety-clackety.
bricks.
I'm building limited edition San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Ninja Turtle Mega Blocks.
wow, off-brand even.
So choke
I
on
saw
that.
that,
Well,
Lego.
Was it? Is it Green Arrow?
Green
For
Arrow?
Dimensions.
What
Apparently, he was available at TwitchCon.
Oh, really?
Something like that. Yeah,
Well, I already have my Green Arrow.
I don't have one yet.
It's
Yeah.
Supergirl I
And
need.
finally, from the great state of California, this podcast's Green Arrow, Mr. Ethan Einhorn.
Hey guys, just came back from a trip to replace my Vita, which was really sad to see that beautiful OLED screen with a crack straight through.
What happened to it? What happened to it? Was it? Were you too excited with your
Wait a
Japanese
minute.
games
Before we
to
get into
tapping?
this, I want to point out that Ethan told everyone not to keep their Vita in a case a few weeks back.
Yep.
Now tell us what
Yep.
happened, Ethan.
So no one knows for sure. It was just one of those things where it just didn't work when I picked it up. It could be that the cleaners knocked it off of a high shelf because I did keep it on a high shelf that is swept up. Could be one of the kids. But one way or the other, it died, and I could not go 24 hours without one. So I went to the nearest store, which ended up being more than an hour and 20 minutes away, as opposed to waiting for Amazon, which I've already gotten some hell for before the show. But
So you can order online. They offer products and services on the internet now.
yeah,
I remember someone saying, though, that the great thing about buying physical Vita is that you'll be able to play it for the rest of your life.
Well, you still can. I just replaced it in 24 hours, and I have access to all my games.
So,
You just have to be very careful.
so in 30 years, when this screen breaks, or let's be realistic. In what, the 2 years when the screen breaks again, when something else happens, when you're carrying it around in your pocket without a case,
Mhm.
and it
I was
breaks
sure that's
again.
what happened.
Yeah, of course it is.
Well, so you think that I won't be able to get one from eBay at that time, or Amazon? Just as I could a Game Boy Advance right now.
Well, I don't think you'd be able to wait. I think you'd see it on. I think you'd see it on eBay and go, but it would take like a week. I can't do this.
There would be the pain of waiting for sure, but there is a solution. Actually, I will say it's so much easier to transfer your games from Vita to Vita than it is 3DS to 3DS. So,
Well, of course.
Well, there's so many fewer
Yeah.
games. What I really want to know is if you sacked your butler.
Yeah.
Knocked it off the high shelf. Well, la-di freaking da.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to check that nanny
The
cam.
cleaners.
You need a nanny cam specifically for the Vita shelf.
Big money
No,
out there.
there's nothing
California.
fancy about that. That is my kids and I are slobs, and so
Is that what you call your wife? Is that
No,
what
no,
you-
my
no.
my wife is the one who insisted that we do have a weekly cleaner because we're slobs. So
Wow.
Okay.
Man.
Whatever they're
That's,
Richie Rich.
That's
You can also buy the new versions of the Vita on Amazon.co.jp, right? Because you can buy a Japanese Vita and just use
Will
your
they ship
American
it?
stuff. Yeah, they'll ship.
They-
You
they'll
remember
ship it.
the news about 6 months ago? You can buy video game goods now on Amazon.
yeah,
That's
right.
where everyone's
That's right.
pre-ordering that Famicom Classic, isn't it?
The Famicom Mini. Which should we talk about that now?
Well,
Yeah.
I just
Is
opened the
that where-
door. You ruined the transition, but sure.
Is that where people are ordering those from?
Apparently.
That's right. Nintendo has announced that they're doing a Famicom Mini to complement the NES Classic Edition. And it's coming out in Japan on the same day, November 10th, for around the same amount of money. So $60 will get you a Famicom Mini with 30 classic games. Most of the ones that we're getting here, but they're getting, what is it? River City Ransom and a couple of other games that we didn't get.
Speaking of not to change topics almost immediately, but speaking of River City Ransom, there was just a sequel of some sort released.
Yes,
the Tokyo Rumble, I think.
On a 3DS.
Yeah, I
Yep.
didn't even know that was coming. Has anyone seen that or tried it? Or
I will probably be buying it in the next couple days.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'd like to hear about it. Sorry. So anyway, back to the Famicom Classic. Yeah, apparently you can't pre-order them anymore.
You can't?
Oh, you can't?
Apparently they're out.
They're out.
Boo.
Yeah. But we did get some additional details on the NES Classic Edition this week because Nintendo invited a bunch of press folks to come and try it out. So we got some more information, and it looks like the emulation is much better than the emulation on Wii U Virtual Console.
Well, it would be hard to be worse.
Hard to be worse.
Difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, hard to be worse, but it looks really, really good. There are 3 different modes. You have 4x3 mode. You have a CRT mode, which gives the screen a nice little like Vaseline look. It's sort of wobbly too. I don't know if you've seen the videos of it. Got the pixel wobble happening.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's also a pixel perfect
wobble
mode. You know, like the little interference in your TV or whatever is just like a little, like squiggle vision on home movies.
Like watching Dr. Katz again.
That's right. And you can have there are 4 save slots for each game as well.
That's kind of cool.
And you can lock saves in as well so that they aren't easily or mistakenly erased. It's quite nice.
Cool.
You have different ways to sort the list. So you can, if you want just 2-player games or solo games or whatever, what have you. You can sort it a variety of different ways. So that's pretty cool. Still no pre-orders have gone up outside the ones from ToysRUs.com, and I think Target.com did some too.
That's where I have mine pre-ordered.
Yep.
Target.
I got Toys R Us. I did it.
Nice.
Yeah, but I want to get an extra controller. I hope they make a lot of those.
Yeah,
because that'd be nice. But I'm not going to pre-order a Famicom Mini.
No?
Is anybody tempted?
Not really.
No.
I'd like to have one eventually, but I'm not, running for it or anything like that.
Yeah. It's just one additional HDMI in that would be taken up.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen, since the controllers, on the Famicom, you can hold them on the system, right? They're like, there's a little place for them. The controllers are actually really tiny, apparently.
Yeah, ridiculously small.
So we get the full size American NES.
Wrap your big meat hooks around that thing, especially Johnston.
The Duke-sized NES controllers.
Yeah, the ones in Japan are Trump-sized.
That's right.
Oh, tiny hands.
Wow.
Tiny hands.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see all your American news.
But some additional news about that. So about the NES
Trump?
Mini, not Trump. So to switch games, you have to press the reset button on the actual unit itself. That's how you get back to the main menu. There's no like controller shortcut for it. So like the Retron 5 has a controller shortcut to get back to the main menu. The NES Classic will not. You have to actually press reset on the unit itself, and the controller cords aren't very long, so you might have to get a longer HDMI cord, or I don't know, or get up off of.
I don't understand
the couch and press
what
reset. That recreates the act of switching cartridges. You see, from back in the day.
So you got to get up and blow on the NES Classic.
No. I mean, you could. It won't do anything, but you could.
The system will appreciate it.
Well, do you remember Dark Void Zero actually had that integrated where you blow into the DS microphone to get it to work?
Yes.
Really? That's
Yes.
funny.
Yeah.
The game God of Protectors has a little take on that too, on the 3DS.
Indeed, it does.
It's
a fine game.
See, what they haven't been able to emulate yet, though, is that I don't know about you guys, but my friend's NES actually got bad enough that you also had to kind of fiddle with how far you push the cartridge into the system. You kind of had to pull it out a little bit and then push it down, and you really had to fondle it to get it to work.
Oh my!
It was an experience.
It was like back when CJ and I were living together.
Yep. Anytime you wanted CJ to do any chores,
Push it in.
had to work those magic hands.
Gonna fiddle with it.
Fondle it.
Push it in.
Speaking of magic hands,
yeah.
do you guys hear that No Man's Sky is being investigated in the UK by the Advertising Standards Authority?
Oh,
so stupid.
It apparently revolves around the Steam page for the game, which includes screenshots that don't look like they're from the release version.
Ooh, that's bad.
Of the game.
Could you imagine? Do you guys remember the Atari 2600?
Yeah, where those screenshots were drawn.
Yeah, where the screenshots were like actual illustrations.
Yeah, I love. That's actually really fun to go back and look at like those old, especially the old magazines, because like what was it? Electronic Games, was that the first one?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what all there's. They didn't have screenshots. They had artists who drew pictures of what the screens looked like.
Artist rendering.
Great.
So crazy.
Yeah. Do you guys remember when the Ultra 64 was announced that EGM published an artist's rendering of Cruis'n USA? I think it might have been EGM 2. It was really bad, though.
Well, I mean, we all know what happened to EGM 2.
Well,
that's not surprising. Yeah. Journalistic standards were never that high in EGM 2.
Well, they've never been higher. Ethan.
Yes, sir.
Fun stuff. All right, let's talk about PSVR, right? Because we're a week and a half, 1 week and a half away from the launch, and a bunch of unboxing videos hit last week, including an official one from Sony, and apparently the embargo on impressions and whatnot lifts on October 5th. So John Davidson's been posting Facebook pictures that look like he's in a Daft Punk video. Yep. Yes, indeed. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about PSVR this week because I went to
CJ had a bad experience and now he hates Sony.
No, I went to a Best Buy to try it out, right? I mean, they've been doing these things for a couple weekends now. They've had, demos where you can go and try it and try out some of the games and whatnot. And so on Friday, I looked up the demo times at the Best Buy location near me, which happens to be the Best Buy that I've always had problems with in the past, which... of course. And so the demo, it said that the demos would be going from 3:30 to 8:30. So I left work probably around 4:30ish. And or no, actually, I got to Best Buy probably around 4:15ish, and figured, I didn't want to get there right at the beginning. We'll let them set up or whatever if there's a crowd. But the demo guy wasn't there. And the little station looked like it had not even been set up at all when I was there.
How many times have you walked out of that Best Buy telling yourself and maybe anybody who listens that you'll never be back?
Yeah. A couple times, handful of times for sure. So I sat down in the Magnolia home theater area in front of a 4K.
I love
HD
Magnolias
and
television.
Yelled to no one in particular. Twitter will hear of this.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And waited because I asked the guy at the door, because all Best Buys have like the guy who'll check your bags at the door or whatnot. Like, you doing PSVR demos?
They check your bags at the door?
Yeah, sometimes.
I've never had that.
What kind of police state are you living in?
Jesus.
So he said, "Oh yeah, the guy he's taking a 30-minute break." Keep in mind they were supposed to start at 3:30, so I'm there at like 4:15. Yeah,
It's probably union.
45 minutes. So I sit down in the Magnolia area, and about 5 minutes to 5, like just as I'm like about to leave, the dude shows up.
Wait, how long were you waiting? 45
so I wandered
minutes?
around the store a little bit, and then sat down in the Magnolia area.
Just yelling out to passerby, I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving.
I am not leaving.
I'm supposed to be there.
I'm very perturbed here. I want to try my virtual reality.
It sounds like you're in like an episode of Chuck or something like that.
Yeah. So
one of the bad ones.
Anyway, got to try out Battlezone, which happens to be a game that I'm excited about for PlayStation VR.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy put the headset on me. He's like, "Don't touch it yourself. Like, I'm gonna put the headset on you. Don't touch it. And when you're adjusting the headset, don't touch the front of it. Only touch the thing that actually is around your head."
Did they put one of those little toilet protectors around your face?
Yes.
Did they really?
No. But I could smell the Clorox wipes that had been used on the thing.
Could smell the bleach as it was seeping into your eyes.
Yeah.
And a quick thing about that, just they have a plastic for the PlayStation VR, so it's not as big a deal. I think a lot of the stories that you're hearing about at trade shows is about the Vive, because they use
it's like a sponge.
Sponge that absorbs, and so it gets gross. I mean, it really does get, like, it's wet. Yeah.
Oh, that's that's one of the worst parts about VR. That's one of the things that I really like about the Sony helmet, actually, is I mean, when you have that thing suction to your face for even like 10 minutes, you get sweaty, especially if you're a big fat nerd like us.
Yeah, so I discovered that I couldn't get the headset actually like flush with my face because I wear large glasses.
And to be fair, you have an oddly shaped head.
I do have an oddly shaped head.
It is massive.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the guy who was doing the demo didn't actually put the headphones on me until the level of Battlezone was about to begin, which I thought was very weird, because there's a build-up with Battlezone.
There's a build-up in your ears. That's why I was waiting so long.
I guess so.
I love CJ stories. We never get anywhere, but it's awesome.
There you go. So I was able to try one level of Battlezone, and just as it was taking me to the next level of the demo, he took the headset off me.
Oh,
I was done. Yeah,
you were sucked out of the virtual world.
Was there someone else in line?
No, nobody else is there. It's just me. So 5 minutes, and that was it.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mad with power.
I'm on a strict timetable here, buddy.
I have to go on break.
That's kind of a bummer, because when I checked out a very similar thing out here, if there wasn't a line, they let you play as long as you wanted, which was
exactly. That
really
would have been nice.
Sense.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. But yeah, there was no like pre-order upsell after trying it. He gave me a pamphlet, and that was it.
Yeah, that's
tell your friends.
Strange to me. Yeah, that there's no pre-order tied to it.
Yeah,
because it's gonna, it's nice to introduce people to it, but it will be sold out everywhere when the day comes.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of surprised. So Battlezone used the DualShock 4, and I thought that was a little immersion breaking, actually, because I've used the Vive hand controllers, and those are really immersive. You're picking things up and doing things, and to like you're sitting in a Battlezone tank, and you're looking down and you see a DualShock, and it's a little weird that you don't have the things to interact with.
I had a similar experience with Project Cars, which I'm playing on the Vive, and it's one of the few seated games that I have, and it's just very strange to see these arms that are not mine, reaching out to this steering wheel that I can't control because I'm so used to that one-to-one with actually being able to see my hands.
Yeah. It's a little weird. But so after that experience, I mean, I had been thinking about what I should do with my pre-order because I had a pre-order from Amazon, and I did decide to cancel it. And the reason, what?
Did you actually cancel it though?
I did actually cancel it.
Yeah,
I did. I pressed the button and canceled it.
So did I.
I think there are a couple reasons why. And I mean, I'm excited about VR in general. I think the Vive is great, and there are a bunch of games on there that I really like, including Job Simulator and Space Pirate Trainer and Raw Data, and there's good stuff on the Vive, and there's good stuff on PlayStation VR, but there's not enough killer apps for me. Like, I'm interested in Battlezone. But after that, I become less interested in the lineup. And there are some games in there like Res Infinite and 100-Foot Robot Golf that I'm really interested in, but those also play in a non-VR mode. So I can still get those games and have fun with those. Thumper is another one that comes out on the 13th that is also in regular analog HDTV, whatever. So... With the launch list is like super long. It's like 25, 26 games for October.
Yeah, but 13th. Don't be deceived by that, because as we all know now from the other platform launches, these are pretty short games, generally speaking.
That's true. So, there's some short games, and then I was looking through the list, and there are a lot that I just don't know what they are. Like, I don't recognize any names. I haven't seen any trailers on them. Like, I don't know what they are. So a lot of those are just not known quantities for me. Also, it seems really weird. 25 games at launch. There are gonna be games that don't sell in this, and that's gonna be very, very sad for those.
Well, do we know how many of them are box versus digital?
I don't know.
that would be interesting to see too.
That's weird for a system that comes out in a week and a half. Though I don't know that. And also, if you look in the future of PSVR, there aren't a lot of like big names, and even like big third-party publishers are just, there's not a whole lot. I mean, a lot are doing experiments, right? You have the Batman thing, you have Ubisoft doing that flight thing, you have some Star Wars Battlefront stuff or the Rogue One VR experience, but nobody's doing like full games. So it you look past October 13th, and the lineup just doesn't really excite me. The other thing is my home setup. So my PS4 is in the living room, and my living room setup is not really good for having a thing with lots of cords coming out of the TV area. So yeah.
That was interesting about the unboxing that they had on that Sony did on the blog, I think it was. I didn't realize that it looks like the signal actually goes from the breakout box to the television.
That's correct.
I did not know that. I mean, it makes sense. I just, I had never really thought about it, but it was just funny because for the thumbnail for the video showed, all the bits and pieces that are in the box laid out in an image. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of cords there.
There are a lot of cords.
More than I expected. And then when he was showing, it's like, oh, okay, so yeah, like it's a cord from the PlayStation and then a cord from the breakout box to the headset, and then the cord that goes from the breakout box to the TV. And yeah, because it was the thing that when it said we are including an HDMI cord, I'm like, what? Why? But now I understand.
Yeah.
Well, so I think the key thing to keep in mind with all of that is it's not a trivial thing to set up an evening of VR gaming, even if it's going to be PlayStation, because you have the separate controllers and the camera and the headset that all have to be set up and synced. Whereas, if you're just sitting down after an evening with the family to play a game on your television set, they've made it as easy as even being able to connect your headphones to the controller, right? It's just all about seamlessness, and that's not at all what this is. So I do wonder how many people are going to night by night take the time to set all this stuff up.
Well, I don't think we should overstate that either. I mean, my system, all we're talking about is basically like I'm guessing that it's not going to take that long to set it up. The biggest thing will be the camera, and the camera's been connected since I bought the system.
Right.
So, it depends on how long the sync procedure takes. That'll probably take longer than it will for me to plug everything in. Because we're talking about basically, I don't know, like a USB, plug that into the system and plug an HDMI cable into one of the front ports on my stereo system. That's it.
Yeah.
We're ready to go. So, I don't know.
And I looked at the price and thought, I could buy a bunch of games with that money, right? So, and there are a lot of good games coming out this fall that I want to buy. So, yeah.
But the best game already came out, so why bother?
Headlander came out in late July, so that's fine.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. But it's something I'm going to keep an eye on, and I really want to see what comes later for PSVR. Like,
Here's some first-hand reports on this show, because I'm still getting mine. So
in 2017, what happens after the launch? And it'll be really interesting to see what people who are excited about this, how they feel on the 13th. Like whether you see a lot of people getting motion sick or what they think of the lineup. And that demo disc has an awful lot of demos on there. Like which games are going to sell well on PSVR?
I honestly don't think you'll hear a large outcry about the lineup on the 13th.
No,
because the shine will still be on the hardware, right? Like,
sure.
It'll just be people will want like that demo disc. I think that they're doing with the sheer number of demos on that. That's brilliant because you're just going to be able to jump into a bunch of different experiences right from day one.
True,
that's the way to go. Like, you're not going to say, okay, you bought this amazing hardware. Here's a couple demos, and now go spend some money on some games.
But then, like with the way that people are playing VR games, is the demo? Are they going to be satisfied enough with the demo that they don't go and buy the full game?
Yeah, I think there'll be people like that. At first, we're talking about the 13th here. Remember, you said on the 13th.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that the next week they don't go out and buy, whatever. But I'm just saying that I don't think you'll hear complaints about the lineup on the launch day or the day after launch because people will still be excited about the experience. It's like you didn't hear complaints about the lineup on the Wii a week after it was released because everyone was still playing Wii Sports because it was a new thing. It was a completely new experience.
Yeah, I wonder also though. It's not only a question of the products that come out after launch, because of course people are going to want to have the confidence that it's going to be supported for a long period of time, but also I have no insight into what Sony's doing for all of the kind of non-game applications, which are actually a really important part of the VR experience, from Into the Blue to AltSpace VR. There's just a lot of things that people want to do and explore. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if that's going to be live or not. It was not live until just a couple days ago on Vive. They've just launched Viveport. So
that's a really good point. And it's funny because I was actually I was sitting. I had to take my son to hockey practice this morning, and one of the other fathers we were sitting there talking. We were talking about VR because one of the guys at work has a Vive that he just brought in a couple weeks ago, and was saying how PSVR is coming out in a couple weeks, and I'm still getting one. And we sort of got into talking because he's a lapsed gamer. Like, he used to be a big gamer, and he's not so much anymore because he doesn't have any consoles, and his PC's kind of old, and parenting being parenting, he just doesn't have the time. So he sort of took the conversation in a different direction. He started talking about, because he's still a tech guy, and he started talking about 3D video or 360 video. He's like, he was asking, have you seen those cameras, those 360 cameras? Let's, we started getting on about like travel footage or live sports shot with a 360 camera. Like, and Sony has been completely quiet on that front as far as I can tell. I mean, I have been paying super close attention, so maybe they have talked about it, and I know if they have, that our listeners will call me out immediately on this, but they have been extremely quiet about that so far. And I mean, I guess, it makes sense that you want to focus on the games because it is a games console after all. But it's going to be a super important part of VR. That's one of the things that's going to really drive mass market adoption of it. And the fact that they haven't said word one about it is a little bit surprising.
I do wonder if they're saving some of that for the PlayStation Experience thing that's coming up in December.
Yeah.
Also, what game announcements we're going to hear at that show for PSVR. Like, that'll be their opportunity.
Gran Turismo Sport, fully VR compatible.
Well, I thought they already said that it was going to be.
I thought they had too, and then people said that no, they hadn't said that. People called it out to me that they hadn't, but maybe they're wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know.
And I don't know why this is, but the only game experiences so far that I've had on Vive that have made me sick have been the seated experiences.
Really?
Yes. So the cockpit experience in Project Cars in particular, like when that thing gets going and you are on the carts, I can just really feel my stomach flipping. It's a tough thing. There's something about being grounded and standing and walking around and being able to duck and stuff like that that is more comfortable.
Do you think if you were using a steering wheel, that would change things?
Maybe. I mean, that could be part of the disconnect, but I'm just not sure. And the other thing also is it's the kind of wow factor of standing up and doing things and being able to look all around you and have a real 360 experience. That makes you feel like you're doing something that's totally new. When you're doing the seated VR stuff, it's cool. I was looking at also Adventure Time, which is a really interesting way to see how action platform games work in VR when you're looking at things from a third-person perspective. And it looks great, but it's a much smaller step, it feels like, when you're doing that. So when you were saying before that only a handful of games are using the Move controllers, those are all standing experiences, I'm assuming, right?
I would think.
I don't actually know. I mean, because Sony is selling a SKU of PSVR that doesn't come with the Move controllers.
Yeah, that's the one I'm getting.
So not everything can support them. Anyway.
No, and it says if you like the display that I saw today calls out Move controllers as optional. Like it's very clear. Like it shows 6 products on the left side of the stuff you need, which is the headset, the system, and the camera. And on the right side are like the Move controllers, and I forget what else. There were 3 other things over there. The Move controllers are right at the top of the Enhance Your Experience section, which is optional equipment, obviously.
Right. There are probably a couple games that need it, like Job Simulator, just because those use the.
Oh God, yeah.
I would think.
Well, but here's the thing that worries the heck out of me is now you're talking again about market fragmentation and how many games that would require those tools, which I presume will be necessary for any kind of meaningful standing experience, will be made as PlayStation games if they know they're only going to be able to hit a small portion of what's already a small portion of the PlayStation audience, right? A fraction of a fraction. The nice thing about Vive is that it's in every box, those 2 controllers, so everyone's optimizing for that experience. And it's easier to ask people to just pick up an old Xbox 360 controller they have in the house and use that in addition, as opposed to doing what they're doing with Sony.
I have a feeling that I don't know. I would be surprised if there are a lot of games that require the Move controllers. I feel like there'll always be a DualShock 4 fallback.
Yeah.
That's just a guess. But, like what you just described, I feel like that's what you're going to get as well on this. Is like, if you have them, awesome. If you don't, use your controller. Everybody has a controller.
Yeah, I guess I'm feeling like that so much is going to be missed there. CJ, did you play a game called Vanishing Realms?
No.
Okay, that is it's $20 now on Vive, and right now it's my favorite Vive game. And it's like walking around in a Zelda-type world where you have your swords and your shields and your bow and arrows, and again, it takes place all around you. You teleport, but when you're in active... Yeah, of course, yeah. But when you're in active combat, it feels great, and you have these monstrous characters that sometimes tower over you and are twice your size, and being able to block with one arm and fight with the other and have them jump over your head and then flip around, that feels so good. But I don't know if that's technically possible, even with the Move controllers, if it's only front-facing camera support. I don't know how that's going to work. I hope it does, because
although they would rework it
VR so far.
They would rework it just like they're reworking Job Simulator, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's adjusting. It's adjusting the experience. But no, I mean, I don't think that they could. I think it makes sense. They had to sell a SKU that didn't include the Move controllers for two reasons. One, you got to keep the price down. You got to try to keep the price down because that is one of the biggest barriers to entry for VR. And the other thing is that the Move controllers are old, man, and people do have them. Like, some people do have them. So, you know, forcing it down the throats of people who already like, that's one of the reasons that I ordered that version, because I have one. I'd rather go find a used one, you know, for $30 or something like that.
Make sure the battery on it still works, because apparently that was a big problem with the.
I wonder if the battery on mine still works. Anyway, you know, I agree. It is fragmenting the market, and that is a big problem. But that is going to be, you know, I feel like the bigger goal here is just to get the headset into as many heads as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I still think the PSVR has the best chance of breaking VR into the mainstream.
I think
everyone in our industry is hoping that that's the case.
It'll be the best thing to happen to the Vive and the Oculus Rift, and if it's successful, it can only help.
Concern is not so much the launch on the 13th; it's more about the follow up, and also how the games that are priced at full price, how those end up doing, and you know, whether they're any good, because a lot of these games are completely new IPs. Mm-hmm. So it's not even like I can say, oh, you know, they're making a Wipeout game, so I know what Wipeout is and I like Wipeout, so I'm going to buy this Wipeout game for PSVR. No, it's you know, completely new stuff like rigs and Battlezone, and
got a spiritual successor to Res.
Yeah, you have Res, which
Playroom.
Yes.
And you'll probably see more of that. I am frankly surprised we don't see them exploiting more of their established brands, because when Vita launched, you saw that. You had an Uncharted game, for instance, and a Wipeout game at launch.
Right.
So that's a bit strange, but they can still do that. And the other thing also to be a bit optimistic about in terms of content, Drive Club, is that, you know, there, as Greg was saying, there are ways to make games that are on Oculus and Vive work on PlayStation VR. They're going to be designed so that they will work on that, because it's going to be the largest install base. So all of the investment dollars that have gone into VR, and there's a lot of it right now, to make all sorts of different experiences, will trickle into the PSVR ecosystem from the US, from Japan, from Europe. So there's going to be, just if for no other reason than there's, if anything, too much investment right now that's happening in VR, given the size of the audience. There's going to be plenty of content, I think, for the next year or two. It's a little tough not to see it, but it may be that the 20-plus titles that are launching is more evidence that there's actually going to be quite a bit, instead of just a bunch at the start and then a trickle, because you have all those other platforms that they're developing for too, and that they'll port from.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. I really do. Yeah. And it's sort of concerning that Sony has not yet, at least I don't think they've announced like specific VR studios, and they recently closed or they recently laid some people off from the London studio and Evolution as those studios finished up their VR titles.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, I mean, just one other thing on that, though, CJ, is it may also be a case where it's more efficient for them to work with third-party development teams that are choosing to focus exclusively on VR, rather than have their own studios focused on that.
Mm-hmm. Very true. This is going to be a really interesting launch, though. I'm looking forward to it. I have canceled my pre-order, but we'll see how it goes.
So, Greg, you're still on board, though, yeah?
Oh yeah, my pre-order's still good.
Okay.
And Phil, why did you cancel yours?
Because there's, well, A, it's $500.
It is expensive.
Yeah.
B, there is not much I'm terribly interested in playing on it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, just one last thing before we put a pin in it. You were asking about playing games using the device, like regular games. And while that's not the experience I hoped it would be, at least not on Vive because of the screen door effect, I have found that using it to watch TV shows or movies on my own, it's really, really effective for, especially ones that Natalie doesn't want to watch, or that are like horror shows or movies that you want to feel like you're in a theater and you're completely by yourself. So I've been watching the new Exorcist series, which is actually shockingly good, and it's been really fun to watch that just in the headset and get all the scares funneled right into my brain.
And I've heard that the screen door thing is not as big a problem on the PSVR.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I mean, I've read articles that describe why, but I can't speak to it. Yeah,
well, they're a hardware company.
Because I mean that's like they actually we have an EB 2 doors down from our office, and they have done the PSVR demo a couple times now, and a bunch of the engineers that I work with went over, and a couple of them are big Vive, like one of them is the one who owns the Vive, and one of the other guys just bought one on Friday actually. So he's got tons of experience using the Vive and had all the Oculus dev kits leading up to that as well, and he said that was one of the biggest things that he saw. Like, he knows that it's not as powerful as those, but the screen door effect was not nearly as big an issue as
also,
it is.
It's a really comfortable headset, I will say.
It is. It is.
It's pretty nice.
Nice.
Alrighty. Should we get into what we've been playing?
It has been almost an hour.
It has been. We've talked about VR for a while. Alrighty. So, Phil.
Yes?
Why don't you tell us about what you've been playing?
I've been playing more Lego Dimensions.
Me too.
More Lego Dimensions.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
But what have you been playing, Greg? Did you dive into year two?
Still playing through the original stuff. We just my son and I just played through the Scooby-Doo level yesterday.
Oh.
Which I really enjoyed.
Well, tell me more about it.
I love that it was cel-shaded, actually.
Yeah.
It was a nice touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's Lego Dimensions. I really enjoy it. I've learned to embrace my love of that game.
Yeah, it's a fun little game.
I did go out and spend some money on some Season 2 stuff.
What'd you get?
I grabbed the Ghostbusters set.
Nice.
I should see that movie. I feel like I should see the movie before I play it. But
might as well, yeah.
Yeah. I grabbed Mission Impossible, because why the hell not?
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter and Voldemort.
Okay.
And, of course, Mr. T. Had to get T.
Pretty much everything but the Adventure Time stuff.
Yes. I'm not an Adventure Time fan. So
why do you hate Adventure Time?
Yeah, what's the deal?
I don't like it. I've never liked that show.
What?
Weird.
That is weird.
Well, I played through the Adventure Time level.
And
it's the best level in the game.
I noticed when I turned on the game yesterday, because it had been probably a couple weeks since I played it, with the update, that they're actually letting you manage the expansion modules that you get.
Yeah.
The memory. It's a nice touch.
Yeah.
It's like, makes sense.
I mean, it's kind of a pain for someone like me who ends up buying all of it, as I have to go and set up multiple downloads.
But on the flip side, I really like the fact that I'm not wasting memory on, say, the Adventure Time stuff.
It's true. Just wasting your life by not enjoying the Adventure Time stuff.
True.
That's the real sin here.
But
I played through the Adventure Time level, which was quite a bit of fun, actually. Also cel-shaded.
Cool.
And a whole mess of new voice acting from the
that's always nice.
From the cast of the show. There's a lot of that. And then I actually played through the Mission Impossible level last night.
How was that?
Which, boy, it's a long level.
That makes me happy, because I just remember, was it the Back to the Future one being so disappointing because it was super short.
Right. Yeah, no, you don't need to worry about that with Mission Impossible.
Cool.
Goes through the whole first movie. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, it was good stuff. So
then
watch the movie again. I haven't seen it forever.
Next month is Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess it is next month now because it is October.
Yeah.
There's the Fantastic Beasts. There's a new Adventure Time fun pack. What is it? Yeah, Gremlins. That's right. Gremlins.
I think ET is next month as well. And
is
Sonic.
Next month?
I know Sonic is next month. I'm not 100% on ET.
Sonic is next month.
Yeah.
So a bunch of good stuff coming out next month as well.
I love how they're doing this. I'm really, really happy with the whole idea of just doing year 2. Keep the game.
Yeah.
I mean, those new mission packs are expensive enough like that it's like buying another game anyway.
Well, yeah,
but,
exactly.
You know, still, if you don't want to do that, you can still jump into those new team packs and everything.
Although it does suck for people who have bandwidth caps or
True.
limited access to the internet, because when you first put in a year, the update to start playing year 2 stuff is 10 gigs by itself.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, it's just
may have downloaded in the background.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a 10 gig download just for the ability to play the year 2 stuff. And then once you start tacking on the Ghostbuster level pack and the Mission Impossible, the Adventure Time levels, and then the fun pack stuff, you're looking at probably another 10 gigs or so. So
it's pretty big.
Yeah, I think it's like 20 or 24 gigs total.
I don't think I have that much space on my system
for the new update. So
got to get a new hard drive, or you got to
clean out the fridge. Hard drive for that thing.
Clean out the fridge.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one downside to this for people who just don't have the internet access that other
still
people
though
might.
When you think back to like how Disney Infinity did it,
oh yeah,
I'm still a much bigger fan of this format.
Oh yeah, same here. You don't have to worry about the ever growing complicated spreadsheet on the back of the box telling you which parts are compatible with which version and
who can play where, and your toy box creations and all that stuff.
You can only play with these guys in this mode, but these guys can only play in this mode, but these guys can't play on the new versions because they just aren't supported. And
they were sunsetted.
They were. They were. You could say.
Yeah.
So
alrighty.
But yeah, it's fun stuff. I'm enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to the rest of year 2. I also was delighted to see, they have the 2 exclusive figures. We already talked about the Green Arrow figure, which is only available at certain shows, Comic-Cons and that sort of thing. But yeah, the only way to get the Supergirl minifigure right now is to buy the core set for PS4. It's a PS4 exclusive, and you have to buy the actual game, which for those of us who have been playing it since year 1, you're kind of out of luck unless you want to buy the whole game over again. But I was looking at the package at the store, and there is some fine print on the little sticker advertising Supergirl that it's an exclusive until like the end of March.
Oh, so it'll be out part of a.
So hopefully, come April next year, we'll start seeing that figure get a wide release, which would be good.
Cool.
Although I did find there's a special promotion if you already bought the main set and are looking to get Supergirl. There is a promotion if you go to a store and open up one of the boxes, and if you can run fast enough, they let you keep it.
Did you just tell our listeners to shoplift Supergirl?
I didn't say that. I
said
it's a special promotion if you open up the box and take it out, and if you can run fast enough, you get to keep it.
Player One Podcast does not support or endorse
the views
things that don't belong to you from retail establishments.
That was just my experience.
I really wish you held up a Supergirl minifig right now. That would have been so perfect.
That'd be just too good.
It would break the tension so perfectly.
Funny.
Yeah. Anyway.
All righty. Ethan.
Yes.
What do you got for us?
So, actually spent a lot of time playing the new 3DS game Sonic Boom Fire and Ice this week.
Because your Vita wasn't working? Is that why?
You had to play something else?
I don't think that's on Vita.
because even though I'm not at Sega anymore, I still am a big fan of all things Sonic, and I'd been hearing from folks inside Sega that this one's actually really quite good, and it is. It is Sanzaru making a Sonic game. They did the last Sonic Boom for 3DS. This is significantly better. They've really taken a lot of time to get this one right, and it feels like a really solid 2D Sonic game, something that you would have expected to get from Sonic Team on a handheld device. The differences are that you can switch between the 5 characters interchangeably to solve different puzzles, but it's done really quickly and efficiently with a touchscreen. And the puzzles are of the sort that they'll slow down your progress a bit so you can figure out what to do next, but they never stump you. So it's always kind of smoothly moving through the gameplay experience. But I think it's really elegantly done and lots of fun, super fast paced, and is the most satisfying Sonic game I think I've played probably since Sonic Generations. Really have enjoyed it a lot. And have been surprised by it. But again, perhaps I shouldn't be, because Sanzaru also did a great job carrying the torch for Sly Cooper with Sly Cooper 4, which was an original game. Yeah. So this is their kind of take on that for Sonic for 2D games. So if you're okay with the boom aesthetic, then I think you'll get a lot out of this game.
That is definitely the biggest hurdle for me. You're not the only person I've heard praise that game. I've heard a bunch of people say, like, yeah, this is what Sonic Boom should have been. But man, I have trouble getting past not only the designs of those characters, but the personalities that they gave them too.
Sure, but I mean, and I get that, but at the same time, when you're just looking strictly at the gameplay, it really does deliver, and it offers some things that are new. So yeah, I mean, it does feel like an authentic Sonic game, and I think is definitely worth trying. So Stuart, when you do have a chance to play it, and I hope you do, please let me know what your thoughts are on it.
I can't justify going out and buying it. There's not a demo, is there?
There is not. No.
That sucks.
Yeah. For what it's worth, my daughter's really liked it a lot too. She's 10, so
No, I definitely want to try it. I mean, I find like with the problem is like with Sonic Boom, and then what was the other? I can't even remember the other one. The one with that weird camera angle on the Wii or Wii U.
Oh, the one where you're just tilt controlling him.
Yeah.
You're talking about Sonic the Lost World. World.
Those were the last 2 chances I gave Sonic, and I'm just like, I mean, looking forward to Sonic Mania, clearly, but
yeah, and Sonic Mania will be cool too. But this is a surprisingly good and robust holdover for that. So if you don't have anything, if you don't have anything that you're playing right now on handheld, and you're looking for something before Pokemon, this is a really good stopgap. I'd say it's an A quality Sonic game. So.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
No, I'm like I said, if I can find it cheap where I have a little bit of credit, I'll give it a shot.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah, so I see you have a couple of Vive games on here. Can you pick one of those to talk about?
Sure.
CJ hosting and stuff.
Yeah. No, since I already had a chance to talk about Vanishing Realms, I would say that the other good one to look at would be Hover Junkers, which is an interesting one because it's a first-person shooter that ends up doing something really smart when it comes to tackling the challenge of having where you can only walk around a limited space, and you're going to get motion sick if you try to do direct movement, Call of Duty style. What they have instead is that you are on a small hovering platform, and that's where all of your gear is, and it has a little slots that you can hide underneath as you're reloading and stuff. But you're controlling basically a hovercraft with one arm, moving it around while trying to shoot people with your other hand. And it really feels good because it's just taking into account all of the kind of motion challenges of the platform and still feeling organic. So I was really, really satisfied with that one. It's multiplayer only. It's one of those things where I would love to have a campaign for it. It's kind of a bummer when no one is signed into it. and this is increasingly a challenge with VR, is that this is an audience that tends to move, as a flock from game to game to game. And so every week there's a new game that people are talking about, and people don't tend to stick around to play the other ones as much. So this game was really hot 3 weeks ago, not now, but when you can find a good match, it's a lot of fun. So, again,
I do wonder if that'll be a thing that happens with PSVR games like Riggs and Battlezone, where those have online multiplayer modes, and are people going to stay? Both of those have single player campaigns, which is certainly nice. But if those also had non VR modes where you could get more players in that don't have the VR headset, that might have been a good idea too.
For sure, yeah. It's one of those things where I was also playing a really good game called Cyberpunk from Colopal, and I've been trying to get a match for that because the multiplayer sounds like it would be a blast, but no one is playing ever. Ever. Yeah. So
fun times.
Yeah, but I mean, again, good experiences overall, and I am probably going to be shifting back to regular console when Gears 4 comes out. But it's been nice to just really get some quality time with the VR set. And I will say this much: I've been really working up a sweat every night playing these games. It's like standing up and playing, and just really moving around a lot. It feels better at the end of the night than just a purely sedentary experience. So that's been a nice, surprising byproduct of this whole thing.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, what do you got for us?
So I checked out that Dragon Quest Builders demo this week.
Yeah, how about that?
I need to do that.
AKA Minecraft with a point. It's pretty cool. I honestly did not finish it, and boy, is there ever a lot of text stopping you at the beginning of that demo.
It's very talky.
You move, talky. 2 steps, like, oh, and here's 4 more pages of text to read. I understand it, but it really is just Minecraft.
Yeah.
But with that incredible, obviously, Dragon Quest aesthetic, and the music, oh my god. The music is just gorgeous.
One more time?
Yeah. It's like remixes mostly of the first game's tunes, because it actually takes place directly after the very first game, directly after the bad ending of the very first game. That's kind of neat. So you're actually in that world, and a lot of the music is just remixed of the original tunes, which I personally love. That's still, I think, my favorite Dragon Quest, to be honest. But yeah, it's just Minecraft with a point. Like you're going in and you're rebuilding the whole world, and as you rebuild different buildings, although it's weird because you never put a roof on a building, or at least you didn't in the demo that I played.
I don't think you do. I don't think you have to at all.
Yeah, I think it's
in the videos I've seen.
It's kind of a wink and a nod to if you were playing this from a standard Dragon Quest perspective in the old days,
the top down.
None of the buildings would ever have roofs anyway.
Right.
But yeah, like it's you go you come when you finally come out of the little cave that you start in, you're out in the world now, and there are all the cute little slimes and drakeys flying around and everything like that. And you go to the ruins of a town, and the first thing you do is rebuild one of the houses, and then another character appears because of that, and then she's sort of giving you tasks to do and going out and like, okay, now let's put a torch in here for light, and now put 2 beds in, and hey, that's cool, and you just sort of building from there, and it looks really neat. Like, I didn't think I was going to be interested, but outside of the license, right? Because it's Dragon Quest, and I dig the Dragon Quest stuff. But I really enjoyed the demo when I played of it. So it's definitely on my short list to pick up. Like I said, it's going to be an expensive winter, so I'm not going out to buy it right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely will pick it up. Maybe early in the new year. And Vita game. It's available in the US. It's available digitally on the Vita. You can import physical copies, but and there's a demo for the Vita version as well. So, Ethan, you should be all over that now that you've got a working.
Oh, I will be. I will be. Yep.
Yeah, I really liked what I played. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, I did too. I liked the blueprint system they have. So some of the quests, they'll give you blueprints of rooms to build. Mm-hmm. So you won't be doing the entire thing from scratch, right? You put down a blueprint and then you build around it, which I liked.
Well, it takes out the guesswork and sort of the aimlessness, which was my downfall in Minecraft.
Yeah, me too.
I just didn't know. There was so much I could do. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Some could say that it takes away the freedom.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't argue that at all, actually. But the freedom is what killed Minecraft for me, because I felt like I wasn't accomplishing anything when I played it.
Yeah, I've played that game. I played Minecraft repeatedly, and once I'm safe from the monsters, then I just don't really know what to do next. Yeah.
Now, I mean, on the flip side, my kids could pick it up and just play Minecraft for hours and hours and hours and hours, and but it's just not for me. So this actually feels like Minecraft for me.
Cool.
I agree with that. It's good.
There you go.
The other game that I've been spending all my time playing, which I talked about last week, and we'll talk about again this week because I know CJ has it now as well.
Yeah.
Game of the year.
I don't know if I go that far.
You might not, but I will.
Yeah.
Little preview of our year-end episode there for you. Yeah. It's gonna be hard to knock this off the top of the pile.
It's true.
I think you've actually played more than I have now, though.
I have.
Or maybe have you played more, or you've just
I've unlocked more, certainly.
You've unlocked more because you're opening the different festival locations, and I'm just I literally just turn the thing on, ask Anna where I should go next, and just do whatever she says. And she never tells me to go open the new festivals. It's like, oh, you've got a PR stunt over here, and you've got a race over there, and yep, sure, let's do it.
I never do what she says. I'm always picking
guides me around the world,
new things around the map. Yeah, I've got 3 festivals open right now, and leveled up a couple of them. So, yeah, I think I'm like something like 15% in. There's a lot of content in this game.
I think I'm like 3%. Toward the final showcase. But again, I just keep running around doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it rewards you for everything, and it gives you unlocks like crazy. And one of the things that I just unlocked is the ability to join clubs.
Yes, so we finally have a P1P club.
We have a Player One Podcast club. If you've unlocked that ability in the game, go search for Player One Podcast and join the club, and we'll do some racing together. That'll be a lot of fun.
Speaking of that, though, I've been trying some online stuff this week and not going so great.
Yeah, we were not able to connect.
No.
The other night.
No, we weren't. And I tried to connect with a couple guys locally here, and one of the 2 people that I was trying to connect with was fine. The other person just kept joining and dropping. Yeah, it was when it works, it's nice because I like the way that they did. I forget what this is called, but it was a series of different events, and it could be races or it could be like the various versions of tag that they have in that game.
Yep.
But they always take place at different venues. So like after an event is done, you've got X number of minutes to get to the next venue, and that's actually part of the competition. So if you get there and then you also earn a bunch of points on your way, that actually counts towards your point total for the entire series.
That's
so you can
awesome.
actually, it's pretty cool. And you're right, like the big thing that game has going for it is scratches the same itch I think as like a Call of Duty does for people who are really into first-person shooters, which is just to say absolutely everything in that game works you towards the end goal. Like, did you drift around that corner? Here's 1,000 points. And
Exactly.
did you do something else really cool before the multiplier faded off the screen? Then the multiplier goes up, and here's more points. So, if you
did you take out a bunch of trash cans and mailboxes like I normally do when I'm driving around the city, you get points for that too.
There's very much a level of burnout here that I really miss from the old Burnout games, actually, which is like when I opened the festival in the Outback. I was in Surfers Paradise, and then the next festival I wanted to open was in the Outback, which is pretty much across the map.
Yes.
So it's like a 5-minute drive. But you get onto like a freeway, and you're just screaming down these long, straight sections of road, and there's tons of cars everywhere. And as long as you're missing them, like I think my multiplier was going for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I didn't hit anything. I just, I had to slow down to get off the road. And it was in the hundreds of thousands of points for just one series of stunts. And it's just like, there's always something on the screen that's counting up, and points are ticking away, and you constantly feel like you're moving forward in that game.
It's a great game. It's fantastic. I also like the paint jobs that they recommend. Each time you get a new car, It like brings up the paint jobs that people have created online, and there's a lot of good stuff.
That was one of the most brilliant moves they ever made, was incorporating the painting community.
Yes,
the livery selector. It was just like, yeah,
absolutely. So many great. Yeah,
there's tons of content in their game that they didn't create themselves. It's fantastic,
right?
And they're amazing.
You can create your own racing series and customize some of that stuff. You can even do bucket list challenges. You can do blueprints for that, which is kind of crazy. It's a really, really fun racing game. Really fun.
The other thing they've introduced in this game, which I didn't really, and I still don't fully understand, but you can actually create convoys of racers.
That's right. Yeah.
So normally when you're driving around the world, you see a bunch of other, they're based on drivatars. They're not actually the other people, but you could challenge them to a race in the first 2 games. But in this game, if you honk at them, they'll actually join your convoy. And I think it helps you with finding hidden items.
Well, you can unlock a perk that will allow your convoy members to find stuff for you.
Right, and I think it also affects your points, right?
Yes, it does. It adds basically all of their near misses and everything helps you too.
Right. And then the other thing that I didn't realize you could do until I started really playing with this is actually once you get enough people in your convoy, every now and then it'll just pop up on the screen, say, "Do you want to have a convoy race?"
Exactly.
You just press X, and suddenly you're in a race. Like you don't have to go. It doesn't have to load. You don't have to find any specific spot. It's like, okay, now you're racing to the dried out reservoir or something like that with your convoy. Exactly. It's pretty cool. I really, I could go on and on about this game. I love it. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yep. And later on, I think you unlock drivatars that have like little targets on them too. Yep. So on the map,
worth lots of points.
Worth a lot of points. And if you race them, you'll get a ton of points. And those races are pretty good usually. So worth doing.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing in the game. Yeah.
So good.
It's a lot of fun. I'm not a racing game person.
That's it for me, except for, Lego Dimensions Year 1.
Yep.
Year 1. Stop living in the past.
I've just been playing Forza and Dragon Quest Builders, so we already talked about those. So let's go right to tweets. Shall we?
Just tweet it up.
Tweeting it up.
Tweet.
All right. Hacker alias Radical Defect says, I remember Phil bought Dragon Quest V for his wedding. How do the rest of y'all feel about the series? Got a favorite?
You bought Dragon Quest V for your wedding? What is that? I forgot this story.
I don't recall that.
Though. No, I didn't. I think
that's mistaken.
Confused. Because Dragon Quest V, though, is that the hand? That's the hand of the Heavenly Bride.
Yes.
Yes, I think I may have made mention about it, but no, Dana bought it to play, but it's not necessarily for a wedding. But Dragon Quest is good. I like Dragon Quest.
I have to admit that I have not actually ever played a Dragon Quest. I had Dragon Quest.
Free one?
Nope, I had Dragon Quest VIII, and I'm interested. I had Dragon Quest VIII sitting on my pile of shame for the longest time, and just never quite got to it. I played through most of the Final Fantasy games, but just have never taken the time to really sit down and enjoy Dragon Quest. So I've been thinking about getting 8 for 3DS when it comes out. I think that would be a nice introduction. But
that is a nice introduction. That 8 is a nice game. Probably my favorite one, and it might also be because that's the one that I have the best memories of.
Yeah, I just remember it was level 5 and it looked incredible.
It really does. Yeah. And I liked Dragon Quest 9 also on the DS.
Yeah, you were a big fan of that. You played that a lot there early on in the show's run.
I did. Yep.
Like I mentioned earlier, I think probably the first one is still my favorite, but it's mostly because that was that along with Final Fantasy, which for a lot of North American kids, those were the 2 games that got you into RPGs. But I just remember, a buddy of mine got one of the free copies from Nintendo Power. And, that was sort of both of us got introduced to Japanese RPGs with that game, and we played it together. And I played through that game probably a dozen times because it's not very long.
Yeah.
Actually. But I mean, I've played that a bunch. Dragon Quest 2 and 3 I've played through. I've not touched probably from 4 to 6. Played a bit of 7 and played a ton of 8. So I don't have really in-depth knowledge of the series, but everything that I've played of it I really loved. And yeah, I would go with CJ. Like, for games that still hold up and a great jumping off point for the series, 8, you can't go wrong with 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really well done.
It's a good game.
Indeed. All right. Hacker Alias Legend of Starfy says, do you expect the NX to have 3DS or Wii U backwards compatibility in some way?
Nope.
I'm going to say no, I don't expect that.
Nope. I think that with the Wii U in particular, while it would make more sense there than certainly the 3DS, I think that the top titles that they would want to bring over, they will probably just want to make new versions of that you buy over again. So something like the Smash Brothers, for instance, I bet we get very early in the cycle a game that looks and plays a heck of a lot like the Wii U game and is built from the ground up with a lot of shared design principles, but I don't see them porting those things over.
It seems like that feels like the new year one cycle for consoles at this point, where it used to be something along the lines of, like with the 360, as an example, a game like, say, Gun, where it's like, it's out for the Xbox and the PlayStation 2, and here's the slightly higher res 360 version out around the same time. That used to be the way it was, and now it seems to have switched over to, okay, remember some of those really great games you played in the last few years on the previous generation? Here's a higher res version of that.
Yeah.
And it definitely seems like that's the way things have gone in the last couple generations.
But that type of thing is going to be tricky to sell people on here because it's not going to be higher res.
It's not going to be higher res. I think what is more likely is, here's the game that you may have played on
because you didn't have a Wii U.
Right. You didn't buy a Wii U, so here's this game. Plus, if you had a Wii U, here's the game plus a bunch of extra content that was not in the Wii U version.
Director's cut.
That definitely happening with games like Super Mario Maker or Splatoon even. I'm kind of hoping they do that with that. Or Smash Brothers. I could see them doing that too. It's like, here's the game from Wii U, but we added a bunch of extra content. Or even Animal Crossing. I mean, they could do an Animal Crossing expansion.
CJ, here's the big question is, would you end up rebuying all of that content if it is just kind of the same thing with some cosmetic differences and some additional content?
It depends what it is. I would hope, since I went all digital last on the 3DS and the Wii U, that I get some kind of discount on the new editions for NX, but I probably would buy those again. It was some of those games.
I could see you buying Splatoon again without even thinking about it.
Yeah,
I mean, Super Mario Maker, I still load that up pretty often and play other people's levels.
And frankly, I'd be more comfortable if it was something like, if you look at Splatoon, comparing to, say, Rayman Legends, which is obviously very, very similar to Origins, but it does add some new things, and in fact has many of the stages from Origins that you unlock. Right. So if you had like a new Splatoon and it really did offer some new features and was a legitimate sequel, but also
I think they will do that. Definitely. That is going to happen.
Like a few new arenas plus all the arenas from the original game.
Yeah, exactly.
Some
that's
weapons
what I'm getting
plus
at.
all the weapons from the original game.
But they could do it with Mario Kart too. Mario Kart 8 was absolutely fantastic. They could add a bunch of content to that generation. And release for NX.
What they seem to be teasing at with the last Mario DLC content for the kart games is the idea of a broader Nintendo universe being in there.
Yes.
And I would love to see just a Smash Brothers style kart game with all the characters.
Yeah.
I think they'll always
That'd be
call it
fantastic.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
They're definitely expanding.
Definitely. All right. Hacker alias Benjamin Rivers says, how many hours per week do you play games? How many would you like? I only manage 5 hours a week, and I find it hard to fit in more.
I probably manage about 12 hours a week, give or take.
Yeah, I'd be pretty much on that level. One thing that I found that was interesting is as I was working for about 6 months at reduced hours, I actually spent less time playing games rather than more, which seems counterintuitive. But I think that I probably will now next week that I'm moving back into a full time position will actually be maybe playing a bit more just because I'm not job hunting or anything like that. I'm just kind of focused on doing my work, coming home, playing games, and have that separation.
With me, I find that I don't play a lot of games when my kids are awake, unless they want to play something. But I won't sit and play a game while the kids are around because I want to spend time with them. So yeah, most of my gameplay happens in the evening after they're in bed.
Yeah.
No. Same here.
About the same here. It depends also if there's a game that just released that I really want to pour time into, like Forza Horizon. Then I'll spend more time playing that in a week than I normally would.
And one of the major reasons I've shifted so much attention to Vita is because it's so much easier to play that in a 10-minute window, where I can actually play for a little bit, whether I'm waiting for, food to be delivered or, just laundry or something like that. And that way I can kind of keep up and collectively play the 12 hours. But it's no longer a situation where every night I'm in front of the TV for 2 hours a night. I just can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's wrap it up with this one from Hacker Alias Maximum Clark, who says, greatest sports game of all time, not counting racing games, of course, unless you count Sierra, Papyrus, NASCAR Racing 2-3.
I would count that. I don't know. You still can't do much better than NHL 94. Gotta say,
NHL 94 was really good. that was back during the time when sports games were still fun for people who weren't into sports.
I was about to say the same thing. Yep.
When they were just fun video games. I poured a ton of time into NFL Blitz and
Blitz was amazing.
Jam.
Yeah.
Actually, for me, surprisingly, I put a lot of time into NFL 2K5. And again, I can't even tell you who won the Super Bowl last year, so that's how much I care about football. But that was fun. I was working at Sega at the time, but it came out for $20, and it was just a really fun game. And I was living with Seabake too, so he would destroy me every single time we played.
He's a big football fan.
Yeah, but it was fun to learn from him. Yeah.
It was funny. I was on an episode of a podcast episode of over for Hit the Pass that actually just came out, I think, yesterday, talking about racing games, of course. But I believe that was the conversation we had where it came up that, man, I miss Midway doing arcade sports games. 90s Midway doing arcade sports games. There's just so much fun.
It's just too expensive with the licenses now.
It is,
the licenses, and then nobody will buy them if they don't have the license.
And it's a crying shame because, man, back then, it just, to have that sort of breadth of experiences that were officially licensed by the sports, it was awesome, man.
It was great. Although the NBA Jam edition that came out on the 360 is part of the backwards compatibility on Xbox One. So if you have that, I think that might have been a free game at one point.
I got to check that.
For XBLA. Because that is playable on the Xbox One. Great.
Yeah, I always forget to go and check the back catalog of stuff that is newly downloadable or playable.
They're expanding that library a lot. It's it's definitely just worth checking in to see what you own that's been added to the backwards compatibility list.
Yeah.
One.
I wish it would have an area of my games and apps that is like new backwards compatibility games, so you could just you wouldn't have to.
Rather than sifting through your download list?
Yeah, guess which one is new.
Yeah.
So. All right. That's it.
Yeah.
We're done. Right?
Before you do the outro, I mentioned this last week, but I put it up all the information over at extra-life.org/participant/Seward. I'm doing an NES-themed, NES/Famicom Extra Life Marathon this year on November 19th. And I've put up that thing that I do every year where if you donate a certain amount, you get to pick what game I play for an hour of that 24 hours.
We can make you play Hudson Hawk.
I'd rather that you pick something that, I'm not going to want to throw myself off a building.
So where's the fun in that?
But yeah, it's live now. Plus, I just want to put the call out. If you go over there, you can see the details. I want to put a call out to anyone who is thinking of maybe donating prizes, because I'm doing a raffle again this year as well. Plus, giving away some game codes during the actual event. And actually speaking, we mentioned Benjamin Rivers earlier. He's actually very kindly donated a bunch of digital download codes already. So thank you very much, Ben. You're an awesome person. But yeah, I know a few people have given in the past, so I just want to put the word out, like, now's the time if you're still interested in doing something like that. And just keep checking that page. But I'm at $1,400 raised so far this year. And a lot of the yearly regulars have not donated yet, so I know that number is going to go up, but we're aiming for $5,500 this year, so hopefully we can make it happen.
Cool.
Awesome. Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Stewart.
Go learn everything there is to know about Popful Mail.
Awesome. You'll find new episodes of Generation 16.
Go learn everything there is to know about Decap Attack.
Yes. And you'll find a message board where you can discuss this episode and many other things with us and our other listeners.
If you'd like to subscribe to Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by going to the iTunes Music Store. While you're at the iTunes Music Store, you can also invest $1.99.
Cheap.
Pick up the Player One Podcast iPhone application. Gives you one-touch communication with us via the emails, the Twitters, what have you. Yes, all our episodes ready to stream right to your listening device. And hey, Android telephone users, the Player One Podcast iPhone application is available for your listening device as well for that same $1.99.
Also cheap.
You can find that right over there at the Amazon Android Marketplace. We're also on Stitcher Radio. You can like us on Facebook. You can check out archives of our show and watch us live most weeks on the youtubes.com/P1 Podcast. And if you've liked what you've heard, and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1 Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. It helps. You know what? It helps me buy more Year 2 Lego Dimensions stuff.
There you go.
Amen to
also go towards my bail money when they find out I stole all those Supergirls. So give early, give often. And if you have a couple bucks left over afterwards, you can head over to generation-16.com and throw a few bucks towards Greg Stewart's fantastic web series about America's favorite second banana, the Sega Genesis.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I bet you would, you greedy jerk. CJ!
Yeah, I just got to pay for that VR helmet.
Thank you very much.
No problem, Phil.
Greg!
Yo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
No, thank you. Hey, do you have a copy of that Magical Hat game?
Not a physical copy, no.
Ah, man. So
it's a good game, though.
I know. Well, I know. I want to get, after watching your show, I want to pick up Magical Hat to play.
I don't think it would be that expensive to grab one.
And I looked. It wasn't that much, but
yeah.
One of those days,
I'm glad to hear that. That's the type of stuff I like to hear happening after people watch those episodes.
Exactly. And Ethan.
Hey there.
Ew.
Well,
don't say it like that. Jeez.
Hey there.
There we go. That's better.
It's a little less sexy. That's good.
Yeah. Thank you, Ethan.
You are so welcome.
I'm glad you got your new Vita. I'd hate to think of you. Hate to think of you being booby touch simulator free for a day. I know how much you rely on those.
That's only like 40% of the catalog, right?
I know, but still. Still,
I didn't have to go more than 24 hours, so
40% of the catalog, but they hold 100% of your heart. So, more power to you, my friend.
Thank you.
And we'll see everyone next week.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.